Some questions that commonly come in, that commonly get asked in big in-person workshops, have to do with breathing. So let's address that first, and then Footstrike, we'll get to that next. So breathing. When should I breathe? Should I breathe on the kind of the uplift when I'm in the air or when I'm hitting the ground? And here's what we talk about with breathing. I care a little bit about exactly when you breathe and more about the overall sound of your breath. So as you're running here, I don't need it to be like a 3 steps inhale, 3 steps exhale. There's going to be different scenarios where you're up and downhill or you have to pick up the pace that I don't want to start obsessing about the breath. But what I'll ask you to do is to listen to it. And if it is to the point at which you can still basically have a conversation, like I'm not a giant talker when I run, I can get through about 7 to 10 words. I like to take a breath after that, right? I kind of, I'm pretty vocal, I'm a little bit loud, right? In your head though, if you're listening, you should be able to say about a 7-word sentence as you're running, even if you don't like to talk. Coach Tom told me to talk when running. There's 8. You should be able to say something if you can, especially since a lot of your mileage, if you're training for something that has some distance to it, should be pretty relaxed, pretty easy, pretty conversational. You should be able to get out these 7 to 10 word sentences without going, Coach Tom told me I need. If we've crossed that threshold and you're now fighting for oxygen, fighting to get that CO2 out of your body, we're training a little too hard, and this will lead to some type of overtraining, whether it manifests as a physical injury in your body or some classic overtraining of the system symptoms down the road. So breathing is the first question that gets asked a lot. The second one is Footstrike, and I'm like smirking because I love talking about this, because I'll have you think back of anything we've talked about today, of any of these drills that you did. Aside from me asking you to keep your heels down just so your calves would turn off, you know, it's about the only time I kind of talked about the lower leg, the foot in that regard. Did we talk about Footstrike? No. Why? Because if I'm in good posture, if I have an arm swing that's pendulous from my shoulders that facilitates the movement of my legs, and I'm pistoning my legs, and I'm moving with respect to my center of gravity, I shouldn't have to think about what part of my foot is hitting the ground. In my eyes, these arguments about Footstrike are almost pointless. Because if I'm landing under my body, there's nobody that's gonna do that, that's gonna throw your heel down first. And I have my Vivo shoes on right now that I wore purposely because there's no cushion to them. It's just some rubber and vinyl. There's no chance, barefoot or in these shoes, that I'm gonna do that. In my opinion, the front of your foot, this forefoot part, is going to hit. But then your calf is going to shock absorb, your heel will hit, your midfoot will hit as you pronate, and then you'll go into supination to get out of that. So in my thought pattern, these arguments of like, oh, well, heel striking's better for long distance stuff, for people that go out and do these crazy long races, you know, I just want a heel strike. Or no, there's absolutely all these mechanisms and springs to be able to work for just the forefoot. I think we're thinking about it wrong. My opinion, it's not about which part should hit the ground first, but the order in which they should all hit. Now we're talking about endurance running, like going out for miles. Boom, 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 boom. Yes, my forefoot hits first, but then my heel hits, my midfoot strikes, and then I come out of it. Okay, so don't stress about like, oh, I need to make sure I'm on my toes. Because if you're gonna do that, you're probably gonna stay on your toes and end up with something lower leg wise. So that's my little spiel about Footstrike. I'd love to talk about it.